Most people are setting goals this time of the year that never end up turning into anything next year. I'm going to show you all the goals that I set for this year and how they turned out. I'm also going to talk about the 3 things that I do that help me achieve goals. And at the end of the video, I'm going to talk about all the goals that I'm going to be working for 2022. All right, so first let's talk about where I actually landed on some of these goals. I did business stuff, fitness stuff, learning. I've got travel, which I really am into. I've got content, and then I've got just like fun stuff. And this was pretty aggressive to go after because like even in a lot of these, I've got a lot of sub goals within each of them. So I think towards the end of this video, I'm going to go and show you what my 2022 goals are. But like just diving into each of these right off the bat, I think they're all over the place. I took some of those learnings and I'm going to apply them for 2022. But let's go and start with the business stuff up here on the top left. Like this is definitely the most ambitious goal. It seems easy looking back on it now, like, oh yeah, I've got a storage facility. Oh yeah, I've got $1 million e-commerce brand. But at the time, I think Respo Collection did like $35,000 last year. I owned 0 real estate and had 0 idea how to go and even get involved in it last year. So to go and see these goals actually pretty much be accomplished here is really exciting. And so with the Respo Collection, we launched Respoke and one other sub brand that we go and run today. And that actually just, I think I have 91% here, but I think like we're at like 95 as the time of this video. So I know no one's really buying stuff anymore at this point, December 18th, but hopefully we can go and get it over the hump there. The next goal I had here was workout for 182 days. Now, this one was way tougher to track because the way I'm literally counting this is like every time I go, you see here, I even added like a little update section, like 12:15. It's because literally every time I go and re-update it, I'm like looking at my Apple Watch and I'm like, cool, was I able to go and work out on this day? I think all of this focused on the input, and instead I think I need to go and focus a little bit more on output sections. So like inputs are like, cool, how many workouts did I do? How many miles did I run? Like all of that kind of stuff. Like what did I go and get, my bench to and all that stuff. The output is really just comes down to like, hey, I want lower body fat percentage and I want more muscle. That's really the grand scheme of it. So I adjusted my goal for next year. Read 10 books. This one kind of a vanity metric, but also I wanted to just learn a couple new things. So you'll actually see here, you can go and read all of the books that I read this year, and I even go and rank them. Looks like the best 3 books that I read this year was $100 Million Offers by Alex Hormozi. I listened to Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey, and honestly, like not even like a businessy book, just so many good lessons and really entertaining out of that story. And Matthew McConaughey narrates it, which makes it way better. And then I've also got Red Notice by Bill Browder, and I thought that one was really good too. Next one, Live Like a Nomad. And basically what this meant was like go and just live in Airbnbs for the entire year. So I did that for a good chunk of the time. I did Breckenridge for an entire month in February. I moved down to Austin on September 15th, 3 months. I was over in Portugal, Italy, and Spain for all of August. And the one goal that I didn't accomplish this year that I really wanted to was do a solo trip somewhere. And so I'm really trying to go and prioritize that for next year because I think that's just like a really cool way to go and learn a little bit more about yourself and experience some really cool places. Now, the next one I've got here is create a popular blog or podcast. This was before I even had a podcast or anything. Now you can tell that you're probably going to see that YouTube's going to be on my 2022 goals. You'll see here I had the goal of 100 episodes and 100,000 downloads. We're actually at 45 episodes and I think we're at like 30.7 thousand downloads. Now we're like consistently averaging like 800 to 1,000 downloads per episode. So I'm going to go and try to double down on that next year. And you'll see here too on Twitter and on my newsletter, these numbers actually aren't fully up to date here, but I think it's like I have 9,000 Twitter followers now and the newsletter is at 550. And that is basically from 1,800 followers and from 0. I'm not going to do the newsletter anymore unless I have like something really that I'm excited about, just because it takes so much work and feels like such a chore. Like I feel like I'm writing an essay for college, which is not what I want to be doing. 5 100-hour hobbies. This was such a stupid goal. In hindsight, I was like, this is going to be awesome. I'm going to leave here. I'm going to become like sick at chess and boxing. I'm going to have a fantastic golf game. No, I think it's like somewhat of a bad idea in hindsight to try to go and like systemize what you do for fun. Like I still play chess for fun. I still box for fun. I don't golf. I'm not going to golf. But all of this kind of stuff, I think that you can definitely go and do and get pretty good at. But I think that setting it as a hobby, I don't know, it just felt like you're trying to make it like work almost. And I don't think that's the right way to think about it. Now, before I get into some of my 2022 goals, just like 3 quick tips I would take for anyone who wants to go and replicate this process or just kind of think through like what do they want to go and work on next year. The first one is hands down, go and make these things public. My blog, if you want to go and find the 2022 goals right now, is connors.blog/goals. And I post everything that I want to go and work on there. And the craziest part about doing this is some people are like, well, that's crazy. I don't want to talk about revenue numbers. I don't want to talk about like how many downloads I want to get on a podcast or whatever. Do it. I promise you, I have gotten so many people reaching out to me saying, hey man, I love your goals. How can I help? Like, oh, hey, I've done this before. I can go and help you there. And it has hands down been the most motivating thing for me to go and accelerate my career. And also it holds me accountable. Like if I forgot that I said that I was going to go and turn Respoke into like $1 million business and things got away from me or whatever, and someone messaged me saying like, hey, I heard you're working on Respoke Collection. Like, good luck with that, man. Like, keep on going. That holds me accountable to say, nope, I need to go and figure out how to get these ad creatives to work, how to go and get this stuff to rank organically and grow my sales. The second thing is focus on the inputs that you're going and creating. Because I think a lot of people say, I want to get in shape this year. And they never think about like, cool, does that mean going to the gym 4 times a week? Does that mean like maybe cutting down on alcohol on the weekends? Whatever that actually goes and means, focus on like, here's your top level goal. And there's one thing that I'm going to start doing and one thing that I'm going to stop doing. And that's really helpful to think about. And the last thing is like, if you have a friend who is also trying to get into real estate, is also trying to lose weight, is also trying to travel, hit them up and say, hey, listen, we're going to go and do this together. Let's do this on a 30, 40-day challenge basis and then go and try to work together. Whether they're friends from the internet or whether they're friends from college, having that kind of group and support group helps so much to go and actually get started and really go and make your goals come true. But okay, let's get into what I'm thinking for next year. All right, kicking it off here, I'm formatting things way differently this time. I'm starting off with my most ambitious goal still. It is own $5 million worth of real estate. Right now, I think I'm in a really unique position where last year the goal was to go and get skin in the game, get my first real estate deal with my partner Gio, and like really go and turn that around and see what we can go and make out of that. We did that. We bought a self-storage facility just outside of Dallas. Now this year the goal is to actually turn this into a business. And why I think this is probably my most ambitious goal is because while I think we did a really good job on the turnaround of the deal, and we'll get more into that and how that all came in future videos, we haven't really gone and like gotten the deal process down from an outbound strategy. So I think what I'm trying to do this year is take all of my goals and write, cool, what are the activities to go and get there? And I think here's the exact activities that I'm going to have to do is 2,500 cold calls. Out of that, I'm thinking like 5% I'll be able to go and make legitimate offers to that like could actually go and be a really good deal. And out of that 5%, I think that I'll be able to close another 5% for 6 deals, averaging like $800,000 roughly in deal size. The next one I've got is generate $6 million in sales through other businesses. Other businesses is Respoke Collection and beyond. So it's really anything like e-commerce and internet-based, I think. And maybe I'll change the headline to say like through internet-based businesses. And I'll share all the numbers too. Important part is like $6 million in sales is awesome. And like you see on Twitter or like Forbes articles or whatever, like did this much in sales? Like the important part is if I'm making $6 million, I want to go and keep a good chunk of that. So I don't want to just go make 6 million just to make 6 million. I want to actually go and be able to say, cool, now I just made, X amount, 100,000 or $1 million or $2 million out of that 6 mil. So the activities to get there, I think the fun part about starting a business, especially online, is that starting a business is a lot of art. It's like, cool, how am I going to tailor the offer? What am I going to make the packaging look like? How am I going to run these ads? Scaling it is now just a numbers game. And so what I think about when I think of scaling things is like, if I do $6 million in sales next year, I'm probably going to have to give Facebook $2 million. Like just the fact, I'm probably going to go and have to give them 2 million, maybe 1.5, something like that. Depends on what our cost of acquisition is. But like running the numbers out, that's probably what it's going to look like. Probably going to have to spend $100,000 on SEO work. Probably going to hire an in-house content creator for TikTok and influencer work. I also want to hire a performance marketer down the line who can do all of our email and SMS, so that way I can start removing myself from the core business part and kind of think a little bit more strategically there. The next thing I've got here is to grow the podcast, Twitter, and YouTube channel. So the activities really just to go and get there are going to be like 8 Twitter threads a month, really like all around like e-commerce, real estate, podcast content, that kind of stuff. Publish 2 podcasts a week. We're launching a new series on Next Generation Podcast, and record or edit 2 videos per month. So that's going to lead to a total of 100 podcasts, 20 YouTube videos, and 25,000 Twitter followers is my goal here. Let's see if that happens. The last 3 things I've got here are like a little bit less business and content focused and more like personal. So the one big one here is continue traveling. So here's kind of like my rough itinerary on what I'm thinking about for next year. I've got everywhere from Mexico to Colorado. I loved being in Austin, so I want to go back there for like at least 4 months next year. Try out New York City for a little bit. Go back to Portugal and spend some time over in Thailand or somewhere over in Southeast Asia. And here's the kind of the activities. It's literally just like booking the flights and booking the Airbnbs. So that's my itinerary. If you guys are going to be over in any of those areas, give me a shout or a comment below where I should go and stay. You want to go and travel and you want to sublease out your apartment, let me know. I'm down. And the last two things are sub 12% body fat. I was going to make this 10%, but honestly, I think I like drinking and eating too much to go and make that happen. And I think all of my previous health goals focused on inputs like run X miles or do Y workouts per year. But to be honest, I just kind of want to look really trim with my shirt off. Like that's like kind of the goal. So I'm going to go and focus on the output more a little bit this year and see if that helps. The activities that I'm going to try to do to get there, lift 4 times a week. That's going to honestly be the toughest one, especially when traveling, but I'm going to make that a priority. I do a lot of intermittent fasting stuff, slow carb diets, and 24-hour fast on Monday just to like kind of feel right. So I'll update this stuff monthly and let you guys know where I'm getting with that. And the last one is I want to just kind of form a journaling habit. I cannot get into meditation at all, but I started at the end of this year, and it clears my mind a lot. And I know meditation is supposed to do that, but I haven't been able to really go and get that. But this has been much more attainable for me and much more manageable. And it's cool, like kind of just going back and seeing like 6 months later, like, oh, what was I thinking about back in June? Or what was I like thinking about back in March? So I installed this cool app. It's called the Everyday Chrome extension to go and track this. And it'll also help as a reminder because every time I open up a new tab, now I'm reminded like, hey, have you journaled today? Oh, no, I haven't. Cool. I'm just going to like freeform some thoughts for the next 5 or 10 minutes and kind of get my thoughts set on paper. All right, now here's the fun part and the reason I said to make all of these goals public. If you have done any of these or also want to go and do any of them, comment below or shoot me a DM on Twitter and let's go and do it together next year. I'm always down to go and learn how other people are growing their channels, growing their businesses, growing themselves. And so definitely want to go and connect with y'all if you guys have any ideas on how to go and make this even better. So thanks for watching this one, and feel free to subscribe if you guys want to check out any future content. I think next week I'm probably going to post about how I bought my first self-storage facility.